So what we're going to do tonight is GTOWizard button versus big blind. Both ways, randomized, so we will know which spot we get. And I think that's where we go with. And then maybe if somebody really likes a specific other spot later, let me know. Maybe we can make a drill for that after the break and mix it up a bit. And I think it's also different stack sizes. We'll see. And if you have any questions about GTOWizard or about poker, I will try to answer them if I can. Also, a little bit of a training for my potential new job. So, first hand, I think this is probably a mix between 3-betting and calling. But I would lean towards 3-betting the offsuit broadways a lot. So let's 3-bet this. Okay. 72%, so it is indeed mixed between those two decisions. And yeah, I will wait for a chat, by the way, once in a while. If I think it's a tough decision or if I really don't know, I will ask chat and then decide with you guys together. This is a good board for my 3-bet range. So I think I will bet small here with all my range. We are pretty deep. I think it's between those two sizes, right? I think 50% makes a lot of sense. We have the big range and nut advantage here. He might have pocket threes. But other than that, we have aces, jacks, threes, ace, jack, aces, ace, king. So we have lots of good hands here. I think I like 50%. If we were a little shorter, maybe if we had 2 SPR, I would go 25. But yeah, I often default to 33 if I really don't know, when I'm playing. And that's especially in 3-bet pots, that's fine, But there's no 33% here. There's no option. But I think I like 50. I think I like half pot here. Oh, that's not the right size, apparently. We will already learn something here. What's the right size, GTOWizard? Everything else. Wow, and check is the most chosen option? That surprises me. I think it's because I was just thinking about my whole range here, right? Mostly. But I thought also king high with a good shot, my specific hand also has some equity here. But if you think about this spot, this hand in terms of where it is in your whole range, it's really right in the middle, right? I can never make him fold a pair, even though if I triple barrel, he's folding a 3, of course. But I can never make him fold an ace or a jack on the flop, or a flush draw or a good shot. He's never folding that. And everything that I'm already beating, like king 9 or queen 9, whatever, it's folding, right? So this hand, if you look at it from a polarized perspective, we cannot get called by worse a lot, and we cannot fold out better hands a lot. I think that's why this might be a good check. That being said, I thought it was a range bet. So then it doesn't matter, right? Where your hand is in your range, if it's a range bet. But it's not a range bet. 50% check and all kinds of different sizes for the bet. And we chose the worst sizing of all. It's funny, right? 10%, 25, 75, 100 were all better than what we chose. To be fair, if you play this in-game, it's not a huge mistake. But it's funny that we chose the worst option of all. So that's interesting, right? So interesting to talk about why this is not a range bet board for us in a 3-bet pot. But we're not going to dive into too much analysis about it. We're just going to play. But little Akira said all in. Maybe if we were a little shorter. Button open ranges. This is closer than you might think. Suited 5s is always an open. 10-3 suited is always an open. So this is really borderline. But I think it's usually a fault in GTO land. But this might be an insta fault for most people. But if you think the blinds are weak and will not 3-bet you often enough, I'm pretty sure you can open this. It's right on the border. So against weak opponents, I'd certainly we should certainly open this more often than I'm doing it either as well. Nothing wrong with 9-4 suited chat. But 9-5 suited is already an open, right? So. Okay, chat. This is quite interesting. I think we can 3-bet this. We're certainly defending, of course. Would you like to 3-bet this, chat? What do you think? Moose, can I advise you to pick a tournament that's not so quickly, so you can try to promote people to go in? Like 60 minutes might be a bit too short term for people. But hey, I cannot host it, so it's your party. But that would be my advice. So yeah, so the question here in general is, which ace X do we prefer to 3-bet? So we have to 3-bet some ace X, right? Do we prefer the suited aces, the offsuit aces? Ace 8, ace 9 type hands? Of course, the top of our range 3-bets, like ace 10 offsuit, ace jack offsuit, ace queen suited, all those hands 3-bet. But maybe there's some 3-bet bluffs as well. Then I'm wondering where they're coming from. I think that's also better against under the gun, maybe? That makes sense? Because the button has such a wide range. I don't know if that makes sense. But I think it's certainly calling certainly viable. Okay, it's never 3-betting, okay. Yeah, that's why I also paused Anaconda. Because in-game, I would certainly call this. And not think about 3-betting. But that's already a mistake. By not thinking about 3-betting for a second, we certainly check to the razor. Yeah, we could lead here. 12% leading there. This is a decent board for us, right? Because we didn't 3-bet, we just completed. So we have lots of 5x in our range. Paired boards are usually a good board for the button to check raise on. But I'm not sure this is the one to do it with. I'd rather have 6-7, right? With a gut shot. Or king high with the king of spades or something. That would be a good one as well. 6-7, of course 5x, 9x. Some pocket pairs we didn't 3-bet. I think those hands 3-bet and check raise here. Sorry, not 3-bet, check raise. So I don't think we're gonna ever check raise like a naked ace high without spade. And then the only question is, do we need to flat this? I think it's float this. I don't think so. I think we can lay this down. We have no runners. I think I'd fold. Oh, it's partly calling, yeah. 58% flatting and some check raising as well. So that's purely because of our range advantage, not because of this specific hand, which I mentioned. So this is a high check raise spot. And that's why we also do some ace highs in there. But I would never do this in game. I would never check raise ace high in game here. Yeah, some ace highs, but not this ace 3 offsuit. Like ace 6 with an ace of spades would be so much better in my mind. Like, but hey, that's good. We can give this up, especially against population who c-bets a little bit too tight, right? If they always check back their ace X or don't bluff their queen jack, whatever, then we can fold more, right? Because their betting range will be stronger. Always think about exploiting after you got the GTO point, Great music, by the way. Thanks for requesting Save Your Tears, Anaconda. So I think this is borderline. I think offsuit kings all call against the button. So I think it's a call. I think it's not all offsuit queens, but I think this is all offsuit kings. Yeah. 92%. We're not super happy with the 3. Of course, we started with a check. Small c-bet. So this is a great board for him. So if you would defend minimum defense frequency here, I'm sure every pair has to call and every king high has to call, right? Or at least most king highs. But we can under-defend out of position when we have a range disadvantage. So we don't have to defend MDF. We don't have to defend medium defense frequency. That might mean we are able to fold some 3s. But I think this 3 calls because we also have runner Broadway. And our king high might sometimes win the showdown. So I think that's why we can never fold. And then this 8 doesn't do much for either player. So I'm afraid this is just going to be a check fold. But if he checks back, then that's could be good for us. So this hand is too weak to like block bet the river, right? We never get called by worse. Well, maybe, nah. Because we block king high hero calls as well, right? We're blocking king high hero calls as well. It's very tough to get called by worse here. So I think we just have to check and hope he checks back. We can't really turn it into a bluff either on this board, I think. Like, what are we representing? 9-10? 9-10 of spades? 9-10 of spades? We could have some straights here. But I think we just have to give up. But I thought about it. I thought about leading. Well, we lose to fours. That's very annoying, but doesn't really matter though. But we lose to fours with our three, with our king three. We could have turned it into a bluff, but there's not enough hands like this that can fold, right? Even an 8 might hero call me, right, with queen 8 or something. I'm kind of enjoying this, chat. It's been a while. We did some GTOWizard on stream. I think the GTO likes to 3-bet some of these suited connectors. We are deep-ish stacked, medium stacked. I think with 100 blinds it's better. I think with 100 big blinds, these suited connectors are more 3-bets, more 3-betted. It's sometimes 3-bet, okay. Good flop for our hand. Decent for our range, I guess. The 9 high board as well. We have lots of gut shots here. Lots of pairs as well, 9x and stuff. Lots of draws on this board. Like, we have to be careful that we don't over check raise here with all our draws, because their value is a little tougher here, right? Does that make sense? Like, we have sets, of course, but we have a lot of 9x top pair. But he has all the over pairs still. But I think I like a check raise with this specific hand. Because we have an inside straight flush draw. What can go wrong? What can go wrong, chat? We go small, 5 blinds or 7? Who's still with me, chat? What do you think? I'm gonna check raise here with the 8-6. Do we pick 5 blinds or 7.5? I often go too big. I often think, oh, I'm out of position, so I need to go at least 3.5, 4 times the raise. So then I would lean it towards 7.5 here. But I've seen a lot that it's fine to do it smaller, especially against the small bet. So that's why 5.5 or whatever is certainly a viable option. But yeah, I would lean towards 7. Matuig is agreeing. Anybody else? Or we'll go with it. We'll go with the flow. 10 of spades. That would be a good card for us. Okay, we're going for it. That's decent. It's an option. There's the ace of spades. So we make the flush. So we just have to value bet this, right? There's no need to get tricky here. The only thing is the sizing. We make it 11. I was gonna think about that instead of click it, but it's fine. Oh, we do check. We do check a lot on this turn. Okay, that's interesting to me. Of course, with the intention to check raise, right? Because he has a lot of ace-x in his range, I guess. I would like that more, or that would be intuitively more logical to me if the flop just went bet call, and then the turn is an ace and he bets again. I mean, then I'd raise gladly because he has so many ace-x in his range that can pay us off. But we check raise the flop. Then apparently, when we hit the flush, we check. A decent amount of the time. Probably for the same reason that the button still has more ace-x that will bet if we check to them. I feel like GTO is not often trapping. I mean, of course we trap sometimes with calling with aces pre and stuff like that. And if you have a very strong hand that doesn't need protection and you get raised, you often call down as well if there's still time to get it in by the river. So there's some slow playing in GTO, of course. But I didn't know there was a big amount of checking on this turn here. Anybody think why? Anybody know why? We can dive into it, right? GTOWizard is great with all kinds of tools and analysis and range advantage and stuff. Why on this turn? We could find out, but I think I prefer to keep the hands a little bit short and keep on playing. But yeah, interesting to And he folded, so we don't play more streets here. But I'm wondering why GTO likes to check. Yeah, because it's an ace. Of course, it's relevant. Of course, it's relevant. We would bet probably on a 3 of spades. We would probably bet out often. But it's all about balance, right? So apparently we lack enough bluffs on this turn, right? That makes a lot of sense. So we check our good hand here because we probably lack bluffs. Like, do we have the king of spades here? Sometimes, maybe, if we check raise king 9 with a spade or king 5 with a spade. But we probably lack good bluffs. Maybe that's why GTO doesn't like to bet here a lot. Keep bluffs in, yeah, but I'm the last raiser, Moose. That's why I'm wondering. I would totally agree with you if we just called the flop, but we check raise the flop. So we are bluffing. You know, we are polarized. We are bluffing and value betting by raising the flop. So he doesn't have that many bluffs in his range anymore because he called our check raise on the flop. So he at least has a medium strength hand. But yeah, better way to formulate it would be try to let him bluff, of course. Which is what we're trying to do anyway when we trap to somebody in poker, right? When we check to them. So yeah, kind of interesting because I understand the concept of slow playing / trapping, but when we bet the flop, check raise the flop, and then get there, I would be inclined to just value bet. Don't get me wrong, it's not a mistake because it's 50-50, but I'm just trying to come up with reasons why GTO likes the check as the best option here. But let's move on. We analyzed enough about it. And don't put the blame on me if it's all wrong what I'm saying. Let's open ace jack. Seems good. We are the button now. Mixes up randomly. 8 high paired board. I'm inclined to bet small with most of my range. Yeah, and this paired board is not as bad as like an 8-6-6. Like the middling cards are better for the big blind. Because he's gonna fold some offsuit 3s still pre-flop. So it's not as scary as like a 7-6-6 board. I think I'm just gonna bet small here. Oh, it's only 22%. Okay, smaller bet, okay. I didn't even consider that. I didn't use the slider. But 20% is better. 20% is the better bet here on the paired board. That's good, that's good. But c-bet is fine, so let's move on. Yeah, Moose is a legend. Moose is certainly a legend. We will... chat, this is a good question for the chat. Because I know this is close. 8-9 offsuit, certainly an open. But 60 blinds deep, I think it's an open. But I think it's on the borderline. So let's ask chat. Because I think like 4 or 5 offsuit is not opening here, right? So the 7 suit offsuit, 7-6 offsuit. Yeah, and I'm totally aware that there's so many people with trouble in their life financially. Like, I'm totally aware, and there's people probably having it worse, you know, especially outside the Western world. You know, I'm aware, but you know, being put out on the street is also pretty bad. So yeah, I'm just trying to do what I can. But hey, Arstuner says fold. Yeah, I think it's close. I'm just trying to get some feedback from the chat. I think it's close. Yo, Commander Nutter. Let's go, mate. Thanks for the raid. Welcome to the Friday variety stream. We are doing some GTOWizard studying here. How was the Gran Turismo, or what was it? The race game you played? I watched for a while. You seemed into it. Welcome, Ian. Welcome out of the way. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, people get so often easily forgotten, right, Wheel? People get so often easily forgotten. Like, I'm afraid to be forgotten, you know? If I don't stream for a month, I'm afraid I have no viewers left. Even though it's not going to happen, right? It's not going to happen, but I had a 3-week break earlier this year, and I was totally fine. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Ian. Yeah, I'm not going to play poker today. We're doing GTOWizard, and then we're moving on to some games later. I'm going to fold. I'm going to fold. I was leaning towards opening, but Irish Tuner says fold. Soms gaan ik say fold. Yo, thanks, Commander Nutter. You are crazy. Boom, shakalaka ding dong. Oh. That closed my GTOWizard window. I had that problem earlier. It's my shortcut for air horns. Closes the window. We'll get it back. I'm not sure how I get the right hand back. I don't know if I can continue probably, but I'm not sure if I will be in the same hand. Yo! We got a hype train going on. That means we are on a bit of a break. We are on a bit of a break of the studying. Thanks so much, everybody. Thanks, Storm, for the gift sub to Wheel. Out of the way, thank you so much for the sub. Everybody that came with the raid subscribed, I think. Commander Nutter, Ian, out of the way. That is very, very nice of you. Legendary community. Legendary community. I have no words. I can't speak. I can't speak. I can't speak. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, hype train. Are you ready? Let's go. This song is very low key for a hype train. But there will be some drum solo coming up. We're waiting for that moment. Oh no, I didn't save my session. Okay. We'll just keep on going from different spots. Yeah, a real one. I misclicked earlier, but now we have a real hype train. Thanks, everybody. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it driving, you know? I can feel it. Oh yeah, Wheel said you expected something was wrong when I didn't stream MTTs this week. Yeah, that's a very good read. That's a very good read on the situation. To be fair, there are some positives to this all. Like, to be fair, I was a little stuck in life, right? I need some refresh moment. I need some refresh situation, but not like this, right? This was not the way I envisioned that. But a bit of detoxing cannot hurt me too much. Like, I haven't had alcohol all week. I haven't had alcohol since last Friday, which for me is quite rare. So that's good for me too. Haven't played a single hand of poker all week either. So yeah, there's some positives to take away. Let's get back to the train now. Let's play a couple more hands. And the hype train is still going, chat. Hey, Sir Henny. Good luck on the grind if you're grinding today. Or join us for a bit of studying if you want. I just called with fours. I'm going to check fold this flop. I know with the 4 of spades we should call here. In GTO land, 4s with a pair with a flush draw would be a call here, but I think this is a fold. I was on a streak, but then I closed my window by accident. Sadly. We were doing pretty well so far. So yeah, why not study poker while I'm not playing, right? I'll get better. If I get back to it, I'll be better. We're certainly calling here. Not as often as you might expect, Henny. Not as often as you might expect. But I do feel the love. And we've talked about my situation the first 20 minutes of the stream. But yeah, I also said I don't want to talk about it all night because that's not good for the vibes. So we'll have some actual content tonight as well. But no poker. No poker. But I do feel okay, I have to admit. I do feel better than last Friday too. Last Friday was poker, and I streamed Rush and Cash. But I feel like I'm in a better mental space today than I was last Friday. I don't know why, because my situation hasn't been resolved. But I had a couple of good talks with people this week. I've done what I could in terms of the situation. I've applied for jobs. And I'm super happy that I found the courage and motivation to go live tonight, even though I couldn't play poker anymore. So those are all positives to take away from the situation, right? We are checking to... do we lead sometimes here, chat? I'm very bad with leading from the big blind. It's not really a thing I do a lot. And it's not really an issue either. But I think this might be a spot where we have some leads. But I'm not doing it. But on paired boards is the main... Paired boards with medium to high cards. Like 8 high boards with a paired... You know, those are the boards we check raise the most. Check raise the most, but not lead the most, maybe. That's not the same thing, of course. But probably the 10 is probably too high, right? So the board is probably too high. Would be better on 7-5-5. Yeah, more polarized as well, right? What Henny is saying, yeah. If we lead here, more polarized. Better hands than this one. Like trips. Or draws, like flush draws. That makes a lot of sense. And you can't really go wrong with that. Check is fine. 8% lead, though. 8% lead. And I think we want to check raise some top pairs here for sure. To protect as well, because there's overcards and stuff. With an ace, we wouldn't do that as much. But with a 10, I think we do it as much. I think I like a small raise here. Okay, 2.6%. Not great. And now we're in untreated territory, so this is not really a soft spot anymore. Okay, I should have called there, by the way, I think. I was clicking through because this icon means that this is not a spot in the tree that you should be in. So we never check raise this hand. We do check raise some top pairs, but this is not strong enough, I guess. We probably check raise top pairs with a 6 and a 4. Right? 10-4 and 10-6 probably check raise more. Because they can make runner straights and stuff. Does that make sense? I don't even know if that makes sense. Let's move on. Yeah, I folded. Very good fold. In general, that's probably true, Wheel, but there's often other factors that are more important, right? Like SPR, position, dynamicness of the board in general. You know, if there's some straight rolls out there, range advantage. Like, there's so many factors that we should be able to consider in terms of our raise size. But I'm sure you're right that the more dynamic / draw heavy a board is, the bigger we want to raise. Yo, Killing Bird. Oh, monotone flush board. Monotone is like 3 of the same suit. You said flush draw. On a monotone board, we usually want to go small, right? Bet small and raise small. Yo, Killing Bird, how you doing, man? I missed your streams this week, sadly. I'm gonna wait until Killing Bird is done with this. Yeah, this is rainbow. This is not monotone. Monotone is 3 of the same suit. So that's why our discussion was a little confused there. Considering my situation, Killing Bird, and you know a little bit about it, I'm doing really well today. I haven't played any poker this week, and I will not tonight either. I haven't had any beers this week, but I will have some beers tonight. So it's time to relax for a moment after a stressful week. So I'm looking forward to some cold beers in a little bit. So we flop trips here from the button. So let's bet. Let's bet small, right? And we can go smaller than... We can go 20% here. Which is a thing that GTO likes on paired boards. So chat, do we go 20% or 33% here? Yeah, and thanks for joining, everybody. We'll take a quick break after a couple hands at 9-ish. And Moose, please spam your last longer a couple times again. I cannot join, but it's nice to keep it going for a couple Air One Army members. You can also edit the last longer command. I don't know if you did that. I kind of missed that. So I'm going to go 33. It's okay. Probably the other size is smaller than this. And this is an interesting spot where we might be able to slow play if we're not deep enough. Like if the deeper we are, the more often we want to raise again here. But this is such a dry board as well that what is going to call me if I raise again here. I think I like a call. The pot becomes 16 blinds. We have 2 SPR on the turn. We can still get it in by the river. I think I like a call here. To keep his bluffs in, if he has any, and he should have some bluffs, right? It's GTO. He's playing GTO, so he has some bluffs in his range. So I think I like a call here. 41%. Okay, it's not completely crazy. Then he checks the turn. We cannot check back. We have to bet to try to get it in by the river. If we bet 9, if he calls, the pot will be 34. We can jam the river. Yeah, I think 9 or 5. We bet 5.5. Pot will be 28. We can do that too. Still, it's such a dry board. There's only some straight draws, but there's now some straight draws. The flop didn't even have any. So he's going to use some 5x as well to check raise. And some under pairs that also want to protect their hand, I guess. And maybe some hands like Jack Queen overcards with the straight runner straight draw. So his range is a lot of Queen highs and 5x and stuff. So I don't think we should go big. I think we go small. I'll take it. But this completes some of his draws, but we block, of course, the Jack 9 and the 6-9. So we block some straights, which is good. But with this hand, we just have a clear value jam, I think. All right. And he had 9-5. That's an interesting bluff catch. Interesting, right? So I was pretty spot on here. Like he did check raise the 5 because what value does he have except the 10? But the 5 needs some protection because it's such a low card on the board. So he did check raise the 5. Then we bet small on the turn to keep him in. And then he calls the river with specifically this 5 because he blocks straights, just like I do, right? He blocks 6-9 and he blocks Jack 9. So probably that's why this 5 calls and some other 5s fold the river, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Queen 5 folds. It's almost like I know what I'm talking about. How is that possible, chat? That cannot be right. Something must be wrong with the universe. Almost like I know what I'm talking about. So we'll do one more hand and then it's time for a quick break. We'll do some more studying after the break and then later tonight there will be some games, some Tetris, Sporkle, maybe some Transport Tycoon, whatever our mood strikes us. So we can jam here once in a while, but it's, in my opinion, it's too big, 34. But I know it's a thing, right? Around 30 blinds, we start jamming with the lowest of pairs. And maybe some ace 5 offsuit or something. So maybe this is already jamming once in a while. But for 20, I would certainly jam. But for 34, I think it's fine to call. We jammed, chat. We should have jammed. And now we are in untreated territory again. This is a tree of the GTO solution we shouldn't be in. Because we should have jammed pre-flop. So we never are here with this hand. That's why I'm clicking it through. And then I'll see quickly. We blundered. Then it was a jam pre. 100% jam with 35 blinds. So that's nice, right? I kind of felt it was a jam, but I didn't pull the trigger. 25 blinds I would have jammed. But Apparently, 34 is also fine, chat. 34, jam your weakest pairs. To end this hour, let's actually look at the full solution here of what we should have done. Yeah, it's big, right? GTO likes to jam very big with the lowest pairs. This is not the solution, chat. Oh, it is. Wow, it is. I didn't know it was so many pairs. So that surprises me. This is the chart for the big blind response versus a button open, 35, 34 blinds. I would have expected only like 5s and lower. And then, what did I expect? I guess I expected some more small betting. Like all these red ones. So the dark red is jam. The light red is raise. Make it 8 blinds. Right, yeah, 8.8. So that's interesting. 35 blinds, we can jam up to 8s, everybody. Very interesting. And we balance that with some ace-x. And everything else we call or raise smaller. And I would raise small with the best of the pairs and ace-king and stuff. But it surprised me the pairs go so high as 9s even mixed, right? 9s even mix jams. And king 7 suited. the rare king 7 suited. All right. So let's continue. I'm pretty sure we defend the 7-5 offsuit. Okay. We flop an open-ended straight roll on a board that is not particularly great for us because it's king high. But we certainly have some playability around the 8 and the 6. He checks back though. We make a straight. That was boring. I was gonna talk 5 minutes about check raising or not. But we're not gonna talk 5 minutes about check raising or not because he checked back. And we can still mention it, right? I think I would have check raised, especially with the spade. I think I would have check raised his king high boards, making him fold all his, ace high steps that have nothing to do in this spot. Queen high bluffs. But yeah, now we turn the straight, and now we have a tough decision. So I hope somebody will help us out here. Do we lead on this turn because it's a good card for my range and for value, obviously? Or do we check in the hope he starts betting? But he checked back the flop, so he doesn't have a king too often. He could have something like 8-9. Like a middle pair checks back sometimes. Could have pocket queens or something. Like his middle strength hands like queens and jacks probably check back a lot. Something like 8-9, something like queen 8 suited, So I think I like a bet because I'm afraid his showdown hands are just going to check back. Especially if he also has a spade and he doesn't mind checking back. So I think we bet, yeah. Yeah, I think I like a bet. A lot of bad rivers to destroy our action. Like if it was an ace, this happened before, right? If this was an ace, we probably check to the raiser because he checks back so many ace high. And then he can start betting on the ace and then we check raise, right? So on an ace or a queen, maybe we check. But yeah, the consensus seems to bet, and I agree with you all. Then we have the sizing issue. We're out of position. We're still pretty deep stacked. Our SPR is still 6. So those two things combine me to think we have to go a little larger. But then the fact there's already 3 to a flush often means we go smaller, if I remember correctly. So I'm a little in between two worlds here. Let's go a half pot. Okay. We passed the test. It's good enough. And now on the jack, I think we have a clear value bet. So he checked back flop called turn. We lose to some queen 10 for sure. Queen 10 with a spade certainly could check back flop call turn. But it's not that much we're afraid of here, right? And if I check, again, too high of a chance he checks back an 8 or a 9 or a jack or pocket queens. So we certainly have to value bet. So So 10 blinds? It's an overbet spot? I don't think so. If you don't have the nut advantage or a good nut flush blocker or something, if we were bluffing, I don't think this is a spot where we want to go too big. I think 10 blinds. Okay, that's wrong. That's wrong. We did pretty well with the flop check, with the turn lead. Prefers a little larger. And then the river we fucked up, apparently. It's a purely overbet. Okay. Pure overbet. So yeah, we don't make a huge mistake here. Look at the EV difference, right? This is all 13 point something EV. Even checking is 13 EV, which is kind of surprising to me. So yeah, it's certainly not a big blunder, I'd say. But GTOWizard calls this a blunder because it's 0%. Should be played never. Unblock all the 2 pairs. Interesting. And that's why we go bigger. Let me think about this for a second. So of course we have multiple sizes on this river, right? We probably have like a blocking bet that's like 4 blinds or 5 blinds. And we have a large bet that this is too much in between those. What I chose, like, it's probably better to go pot or larger for our big bets. And of course the straight is still pretty good here. We can certainly get called by lots of weaker hands. Even though we don't have the nuts, but we block some flushes. Yeah, we unblock 2 pairs. Like he has King Jack, King 9. But King X doesn't check back a lot, so so it's more like 8-9. 6-9, things like that. Jack 9, Jack 8. And he has 2 pair, so yeah. So yeah. And because we unblock his value range that we want to get called by, we can go bigger, right? That's the logical process here. And tell me if I'm wrong, right? But that might be a good reason. But it's good enough, at least, that we bet the river. Let's go on. Ace deuce in the big blind. We learned that this is never a 3-bet. Yeah, we're gonna check call this, I think. But he doesn't bet. This would be a good card for us to lead if we would have check called the flop. Because the middle card is usually better for the caller, so it would have been good for us. It's probably still better for me than for him. But ranges are still so wide because it went check on the flop that I'm not really sure we want to bet with a 7 here. Or maybe we want, but what are we targeting? Like he doesn't check back a jack too much. Of course, there's 2 flush draws. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna bet, but I'm just wondering in general how our strategy would look here. But the ace high here, probably fine with checking. Nice request, Turner. And we have a very small bet. Yo! Martha Taylor, thank you for the follow over on the green platform. I appreciate it. Yeah, we cannot fold ace high here, right? So we do have the ace of spades. So we block his flush draws, but on the flop he should bet those a lot anyway. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think ace high here, getting this price, 14.1% are pot odds here, right? Can't fold ace high. And we check fold. Wow, what a bet. What a bet. That's called a polarized range, chat. He goes 3 times the pot on the river. So yeah, we have better bluff catches here, right? Like any 7, any jack, any 5, 6. It's an easy fold, but I'm just wondering about how this range looks. So we might be able to look into that for a sec. Oh wow, we should call sometimes. No? Huh? Wait. It said check was... What happened there? I thought it said 67%. Oh yeah, this is the check. Okay, this is the check. And then how do we go from this to when he jams? I'm not really sure, but we can study for a sec and see what his range looks when he bets 3 times the pot on the river. That's what I'm wondering about here. So this range. Oh, not click that, sorry. So that's this one. Oh, I've not seen this menu before. Oh, yeah, you guys can see that. Maybe this one is better, the filtered. So where are these big bets? How can we filter this easily? All these red colors are too similar, right? This one is good, I guess. Here we go. 8% of the time. And these are the hands we do it with. So all of 7x, all this, I mean, of course, if you have a polarized range here, all our 7x and better should be in the value range. What I'm wondering about is the bluff range. We got Queen 10. Of all kinds of suits as well. Jam the top of my lungs. Okay, let's not dive into this too much. Henny says opponent probably got with wrong foot out of bed. That is the only good reason, Henny. That is the only good reason. So yeah, we just have to remember, fuck 3 times the pot. I don't know how to play against that. Call with a 7 and hope for the best. I'm gonna call with some Jack X if you know your opponent has bluffs there, right? Let's move on to the next hand. Easy open. We don't think about that too much. 7 deuce deuce. Very boring board. We do have the runner straight and flush draw, so I really want to bet this. And I really want to bet it small. I think 20 or 33 is fine. And we can make him fold queen high, king high. Ace high probably should float. But we're targeting the queen high and king highs to fold. And we have some runner cards where we can do something with. Alright. So we turn the straight draw. And he bets again. Also, the higher this card is, the better it is for us. So on 10 and higher, we probably always barrel, right? And on spades, and on Jack X. So I like a barrel here. Don't think we have to go larger than 5. Like, he should have some ace high floats, right? That fold on the double barrel. King high floats. Maybe some things like 8-9 of hearts, 8-9 of diamonds. Maybe those check raise a lot. A 7 probably check raises too, you know? But he's really capped here, right? If a 7 or deuce almost always check raises. I really want to barrel my jack high gut shot here. Okay, that was great. He folded king high. Exactly what I said. Let's make him fold the queen and king high if you double barrel. Ace high even. So interesting to note that he floats the king high. Because we bet so small on the flop. And this is such a dry board. We need to call with lots of ace and king highs. Otherwise we overfold. And it's good to notice that. And I probably don't barrel enough in game. Lots of good barrel spots there against a white collar on the button. Let's defend the 8-6. Another open-ended straight draw. And again, we can't check raise because they check back. Interesting card. So we turn an 8. I do struggle in these spots. So we now have a medium strength hand, a medium strength made hand, which usually wants to go to showdown. It's like a 1 street or 2 street value hand. We don't want to build a big pot, but we do need some protection. I think I'd rather lead here if I have a spade. We do have an open-ended straight. We'll add it with our pair though. But I think we check call. I think we check call the turn. I think our hand is strong enough to withstand a bet, right? With second pair and outs to improve. Right. Even the pot bet, 5-6 pot bet, I think we certainly call. All right. And we make 2 pair. What a great hand. So what I think here, chat, what I think here is betting 1.5. But maybe I've watched Giraffe Ganger too much. No, I think a blocking bet is very good here. Maybe this is too ridiculous to bet 1.5. But it's an option in GTO land. He could call with a jack. He could call with 5-6. Yeah, it's very hard to get called if we bet bigger here, right? If we bet bigger here, we just narrowing his calling range to all hands that beat us. Flushes, straights, better 2 pairs. So it's either a check or a small bet. Who thinks they know the answer here, chat? Do we go to Giraffe Ganger 1.5? Do we go third? Or do we check? I think those are the 3 viable options here. Or I'm missing some weird bluff, but I don't think we're gonna bluff 2 pair, right? That doesn't make any sense. If we bluff 2 pair here, that means we're trying to make him fold top pair. No, that's not an option. But the fun thing is, it sounds like an exploit. If people don't attack us enough with this, it works as an exploit really well. This is what Giraffe Ganger explained in a video I watched earlier this week. Hey, I can't play, so I'm studying. But this is not about exploiting here. This is GTOWizard. But even in GTO land, against GTO opponents, this is a thing. Because he just gets the right price to call with 7-5, 7-6, Jack 10. Things like that. So we like it, right? We like it. It's wrong. Let's see. Okay, it's a pure check, okay. Too fancy. It's a pure check, okay. That's a very good question, Henny. But the smaller we bet, the less bluffs we need. Right? In theory. Like if you bet pot, you need way more bluffs. I knew the math out of my head a while ago, but I forgot. But the smaller we bet, the less bluffs we need. But we need some. I can't look this up because this is the wrong spot to look it up. But if we find another 10% river bet, we'll try to find the actual ranges and see what kind of bluffs the solver chooses. But it's going to be a very small amount of hands. And we can probably get away in game with never having a bluff there against population. But don't tell anybody that, because then you'll get exploited. Yeah, so if you pot bet, your opponent gets 2-1, so you have to have a third bluffs and 2/3 value, right? If you bet pot, it's 1/3 bluffs in your range. So I think if you bet 10%, it's probably like 1-11 or something like that, or 1 out of 9, 1 out of 2. So the rough maths there. So 10% of your bets need to be bluffs, right? Something like that. But not in this spot, so let's move on. Jack 6 offsuit is fold. On the button. Close, but an open. The queen high board that we completely miss. A runner gut shot, I guess. Runner, is that a thing? Runner gut shot? Yeah, that's a thing. I don't mind checking back some of our trash here, but that might be too passive. Like, this is such a bad board for our range and for our hand specifically. Specifically for our hand, it's very bad. Never a good turn except like a jack, but Another range bet board either, right? It's not an ace queen 7 board. So let's check. Right, it's fine, but he still bets more often. And now we turn some equity with a gut shot. Do we just attack here randomly with jack high? Is that good enough, chat? What do we do here? We should not give up, right? We should have some bluffs on the turn or the river here. Do we prefer to bluff the turn or the river here? If we bluff with jack high at some point in his hand. Anybody have an ID? So we can still make him fold king high, ace high. Maybe a 3x that checks. Yeah, of course we check back, so he still has, his range is super wide still. He still has queen x, 7x, everything, because he never got the chance to raise. He could have led the turn, of course, but he checked 2s on the turn. He would have bet the queen by now, I guess, on the turn. It's quite interesting, right? Because it looks so boring with our jack high gut shot. But it's an interesting spot because in game, if you're 5 tabling, you might just check fold this hand, not think about it, right? Yeah, I totally agree with that, Henny. Maybe with a spade, right? It's often when we have some extra equity with our gut shot, either a pair or a spade, or the spade here could help. Yeah. Yeah, king 10, king jack. Yeah, I agree. But I'm just thinking, like, how often do we check back, jack high, 3 streets? Is that a thing in GTO land? To just check back a trashy hand and never bet? Like on some boards, just happens that way, right? But I still think it's pretty rare. Yo, Andy. Yeah, we checked back flop, Henny. And then he checked again. So in game, we should bet a lot here. Because this is such a capped range. As an exploit, we should bet 100% here, probably. Yeah. Yeah, in game, I agree with that, Henny. Because his range is so weak. But we're not playing against our big 11 opponent here. We're playing against a GTO opponent. He can still have a queen or a 9 or a 7. But yeah, let's not think about it too long. Let's barrel. Oh, well, it's not barrel, right? It's our first bet, but... And we do bet, and it was the right decision. And not because we get there. 8, 9, 10, jack, queen. I think we have a straight. So we bet large. So we even have an 18 blind bet here. What are we targeting here? Yeah, get your air horns out, Turner. I agree. Get your air horns out. So what are we aiming? What is this value range that we're targeting here? Lots of 2 pairs, I guess. That can still be in his range. Even queen 10 is still there. 9, 10, things like that. I'm gonna go for the overbet. Okay. I'll allow it. So we passed this hand, basically. But flop is mixing between checking and betting. Fine. Fine. Turn. It's fine. We bet, but not the perfect size, but it's fine. And then river. We make this straight. And we go large. We played that okay. We played that okay. But it's always easy if you get there. Like, what do we do on an ace, you know? Or what do we do on the deuce of spades, you know? What are our natural bluffs here on the river? That's a whole other topic, though. Good evening, Iwit Beer. Welcome to the stream. We are doing some GTOWizard studying right now. I think I like a 3-bet here. Looking at the sizes, though. Like, if we go 9, he jams. It sucks, but I think we call. So, like, this hand is too strong to 3-bet fold. Same thing with like king queen suited or any other hand that's better than this. We never want to really want to bet fold. It's too strong for that. So we need to decide if this is good enough to 3-bet call for 40 blinds. It's probably on the borderline of that. But if we 3-bet, he can still jam ace-5 suited, king-queen suited. So let's go for the 3-bet. Shit. I'm sure ace-queen does it, and king-queen suited probably does it. But this is not the right decision here. Yeah, I would be a short answer. Like I don't want to talk about it constantly, because of course people are wondering all the time. That's why I made all these commands. People that have my contact info can always DM me for more info, but I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to let it ruin the stream. So we're not gonna constantly talk about it. I hope you understand. Ace Jack. I'm in non-TTO land, by the way. So let's just check this down. I'm really looking for the pre-flop solution here. I'm just clicking buttons here because it's not GTO land anymore. Yeah, it's almost a jam pre. Oh, it is a jam pre. You said that early enough. You get points for that, Henny. You get points for that. So let's look at this range. This is good to study. This is good to study. So it's about this spot. The button opens and we are the big blinds. We actually looked up this specific range like 20 minutes ago. Because we're only doing big blind versus button anyway. So we've seen this chart 20 minutes ago. I mean, I'm not too far off. But, not too far off. But ace jack and ace queen are the best candidates, except pocket pairs, to jam here. So that's interesting. I would have 3-bet the king queens for the smaller size, which is fine. And if you 3-bet these ace x, it's all 3-bet folds, right? I'm pretty sure ace 10 3-bet folds for 40, and ace queen, this portion of it, 3-bet calls. You always see that polarized thing around the jams, around the condensed range. You know, you 3-bet call all these hands, and you 3-bet fold all these hands. So basically, ace 10 offsuit is a bluff, basically. Yeah, you can always share the link on all your socials, Ivid, of course. It's on my Twitter, it's on my Facebook, it's on my Instagram. But I'm not gonna spam it because I feel that's, not polite. And I'm not gonna talk about it all night either. So yeah, I'm trying to keep it polite while passively asking for money. Yeah, that's weird indeed, honey. That's weird. I was surprised about this range in the first place, that 8s are 40 blind jamming. I would have expected it to be only the little bit lower pairs, like until 5s or 6s. That was my read at first. But even 8s just prefers to jam. Like, it's a very easy way to realize your equity, right? And there's never any good flops. Except if there's an 8 or it's 7 high, right? So it makes sense. But I always feel like we lose a little bit of value if we jam 8s for 40 blinds. But that's just the wrong way of thinking about the strength of the hand. Especially in terms of playability, right? Because there's so little good flops. So yeah, that's why we jam lots of these pairs. And a bit of ace-jack, ace-queen. Yeah, nice to look at, nice to learn from. Big takeaway here. Think about jamming 40 blinds already. Not 25 blinds. 40, we can already start jamming hands. That's the big takeaway here from this spot. Yeah, if you have any advice, Ivid, you can always DM me. What's happening here? I am applying for a job at GTOWizard, by the way, as we speak. I'm in phase 2. Answered lots of new questions today. I really hope that I can get it. So I fucked up the spot. Can we get back to the trainer? I'm wondering about my score. I don't want to save my score. I don't want to ditch my score. Well, I'm not sure what's going on here. Oh, there it is. Okay, I guess I lost my progress. Not super important. So let's just play more. Let's just keep on playing. It doesn't matter, but doesn't matter. Oh, this is a different. This is a whole different spot. Interesting. So I'm not an expert yet with GTOWizard, but I'm getting good at it. I've been using it for a while. But the problem is that I'm zoomed in as well. This is the mobile web version, because that looks better on stream, because it's more readable for everybody on small devices. That's why the buttons are a little bit off, off for me once in a while. Yeah, let's see. This is the install app highlight, because it thinks I'm on mobile, because I zoomed in a couple times. That's how that front end works. Button versus big blind. I like this spot. We're gonna only do this spot today. We're gonna do another 20-25 minutes, and then we'll have enough study for today. So let's do another 20 minutes of big blind versus button. I think we're doing pretty well so far. And we have some big takeaways as well. Check raising more on the flop. We have that big 40 blind range that we never considered jamming, maybe, where we should have. So we have some takeaways already. Let's raise the 9-8 offsuit. Yep. We have a 5-5-3 board, and the big blind decides to lead. Very interesting. This hand probably just check folds, or just folds to this. But I'm wondering also, like, what is his leading range here? Probably some 5x, some 3x, some flush draws. Right? Maybe a hand like ace-4 or ace-deuce probably check calls. But yeah, it's a decent board for big blind to start leading. But 9 high with no draw, of course we fold, but 96%? That's weird. So we bluff sometimes? Could also be solver noise, right? 96% folds, but there's no real other option. Oh, here, 3.2. Okay, this is the real other option, I guess. This is not super important to dive into these specifics here, but I'm just wondering why it's not 100% fold. So, yeah, raise 5. We bluffed 9 high 3% of the time. That's fine. Let's move on. That's fine. Let's not worry about that. Yeah, there's a last longer, and it starts in 6 minutes. So it's good to note that if you are here for the poker and you're used to me hosting a last longer, I really hope I can get back to that at some point. It might take 3 months. It might take much shorter than that. But Moose is hosting it right now for us in the GG Poker client. It starts in 5 minutes. Password 1973, which I think I know why that number is chosen, Moose. I think I know why that number has been chosen. Thank you for the follow. Inyan Zuzgut Azimele. That's not an easy name to pronounce. Inyan Zuzgut Azileme. That's my best effort. For the call here, you know this. And the Queen 10-4 is certainly continue. So the only question is, do we prefer a call or a check raise with this? I think with the two broadways, it still favors the button more than it favors me. We have better hands to check raise here, I guess, and better draws, right? We have Jack 9 or something. We have Queen X. I think we check call here. Ooh, it is a check raise because we never fold, right? So it is a check raise with the Ace of Spades. And then the turn check is fine. And the river check, ooh, we turn into a bluff. Okay, let's check the flop here. Oh, the river would be a bluff catcher as well. Wow. I went through that a little bit too quick, but I think the interesting spot is the flop here. So this was the spot, and I decided to call. But the solver prefers a check raise with all of this. Mostly to 5.3 blinds. Wow. So yeah, because of the spade, right? But nice. Next hand, we open Queen 9 of clubs. We get 3-bet. I wouldn't feel comfortable defending too wide here against population, but I do know my charts. Well, not to get too arrogant, but most broadways, suited broadways always call against the 3-bet here. Deep stacked enough. And this is the next step, right? The next line is the suited 9s next to the broadways. Almost always continue as well. So I'm fairly confident this is a call. But I'm also fairly confident in-game against your regular opponent at low stakes, you should fold this. There you go. It is a pure call pre. And then we are in trouble on this board, of course. We can't do anything. But yeah. Let's look for a second. We can't open this in a new tab. Okay. You gotta believe me, that was correct. Same hand? Probably coincidence. And now we just get called by the big blind. This is that board where the big blind has some leads. One of those boards where the big blind has some leads, but he jacks to us. Quite of an interesting c-bet spot here, chat. Do you guys like to c-bet range on this board? Because then we can bet this. I'm not super confident though. Maybe with the other suits, right? If we have Queen out of spades, hearts, or diamonds, we certainly bet. But do we bet range? In game or in GTO land, Henny? I guess it's always on the table, that question. But both? Let's go 20%. Wrong! We'll quickly see what the bet... Oh, right. It makes a lot of sense to go bigger. I think that was a little bit too naive for me. Like on these low boards, if we bet, we often go for a bigger size. Because if we have a 5, if we bet for value, we need protection. We want to go a little bit bigger. If we have a deuce, we want to go for value. If we have a draw, like this is those kind of boards, we want to go a little bit bigger. I think that's why it was wrong. Let's just barrel. Okay, it's hard to judge this because we fucked up the flop size. Let's just keep barreling though. Let's see what happens. Okay, it's still fine. Still fine-ish. So the flop is the mistake. Oh, it's a check back. Interesting, Henny. This is mostly a check back. If we bet a little bit larger, but not super large. Mix between 33 and 55. But mostly check. GTO is always wrong. Yeah, I don't even know why we're using this. But yeah, to be fair, my intuition was that it was not a range bet here. But that's always easy to say afterwards. In game, it works fine. In game works fine. Don't worry about it. So this hand has a lot of playability. We don't want to 3-bet fold. We've seen charts of this. This is certainly not a 3-bet, I think, because it plays too well post flop, and it's a shame to have to 3-bet fold a hand like this. There you go. Good thinking, chat. Good thinking. We check. Okay, I was gonna be very inclined to check raise with overcard, open-ended straight draw. So yeah, I would have probably check raised that high frequency. Now he checks back and we turn top pair. Probably fine to bet. A lot of bad rivers, maybe. No, not a lot of bad rivers. Like an ace is like the only bad river. Because a king makes a straight, of course, for us. Not that many bad rivers. But maybe a small bet is still better than checking, because he checks back a lot of 9x, pocket 10s and stuff. Pocket 10s, we block a little bit, of course. They should, yeah. I totally agree, Turner. They should consider hiring an awesome streamer. I could stream GTOWizard sessions 3 times a week if they want. Because I'm not streaming the poker itself anymore. Well, I will again, chat. I will again. It's all temporary. Okay, bet is okay. The sizing was a little bit off. Okay, we make 2 pair, but I still think we can go for value here. What do I think? Yeah, I think this is one of those spots where we can bet very small. Maybe this is that 10% spot. Yeah, we have choice between 8 and 33%. 1 blind or 4 blinds. Like he can still have 10-9. Like a 9 checks back the flop. He can have 10-9. He can have 10 jack sometimes. Probably not too often. But I think I like a small bet here out of position. Shall we go for the 1, chat? Or 4? Let's vote. Can I get a 1 in chat for the 1 and a 4 in chat for the 4? 30 seconds to vote. Darude Sandstorm. In the meantime, we got some bets for 4. Bet 7. For the name I have trouble with pronouncing it, but welcome to the stream. Andy says 4 as well. Welcome to the stream as well. Most votes probably for 4. I like it. I like it. And it's wrong. I think we fall to the check raise. So many straights. But it doesn't matter because we're out of GTO. The blunder was the bet size. Oh, the bet at all. The blunder was the bet at all. Because I only asked you guys the bet size, so this is all me. You never could have won. Because it was always check. Too weak to value bet. Too weak to value bet. But still 2.77 EV, right? I think it's worse than checking, but it's not awful. Okay. Couple more hands, chat. We're getting into the groove of this. But mentally draining too, right? To do this more than 2 hours. Here we are quite deep stacked. So we are maybe a bit more inclined to 3-bet a hand like this. Because we won't get jammed on too often. But I still think it calls way more often than it 3-bets. Oh, well, it's often. It's more often. 51%. It's good I consider 3-betting. It's always a good consideration. Ace 10-10. In this line, we didn't 3-bet. So we just checked to the razor. I think we would have an easy check call on this board. Because our king and queen might sometimes be live. We have a good shot. We might get to showdown with king high sometimes. So I would have check called that flop if he bet. Now he does check back. I think we still check. This is one of those hands, like the king high on ace high. It's so in between everything. Like we're never making him fold an ace or a 10. We can make him fold under pairs. So we can make him fold some better hands, but it's tough, right? And he probably bets a lot of those hands as a bluff on the flop anyway. If you have pocket 4s here, you should bet the flop as a bluff, right? And not check back, I think. And the higher your pair is, the more likely you are to check back. So if he has 9s or jacks, he might check back a bit more often here. So he still have 9s and jacks in his range and kings. But not so much lower pairs, I think, because they bet the flop as a bluff. So what are we trying to bluff away here? Not much. So I think we like to check. Sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about. And sometimes it magically makes sense. Now the question is on the river. Well, after he checks back 3 streets, do we still try to bluff here? I think we have better candidates to bluff with, right? Like an 8 high would be a much better candidate to bluff with, right? Because we can make him fold his king highs. So when having king high ourselves, he can still have jacks, 9s, like I said. They will certainly bluff catch. He's a little capped though, not having too many 10x and ace-x anymore. But we don't have those hands either, right? One of us would have bet at some point with an ace or a 10, especially with a 10. I think we have to check, give up this hand. Okay. I think we played that quite well. We're not done yet, though. We're not done yet. Do we bluff catch this? When he finally bets the river. I don't like it. I don't like it. Any ideas, chat? Do we bluff catch here with king high? I mean, we block his king jack. We block his... It's good we block his kings that might go for value, but... Any considerations you want to share here? Oh, did the last longer start, Moose? Because I knew that was 7 minutes ago. So I don't think I'm gonna bluff this, or bluff catch this, chat. Okay, we played that fine. Look at that. We played that completely fine. So yeah, he still has some... it's worth noting that he has some ace-x in his range still. That check back, flop, and turn. Kind of low frequency, I guess. But I get it. But yeah, I think my logic here was quite sound. Like, so much better to bluff with 8 high or 9 high than with king high. Let's move on. Let's play the a7. We have a good shot. But it's not a great board for us. These middling boards, dynamic board too, because lots of straight draws here. Even though there's no flush draw, this is still pretty dynamic. Lots of turns that change the winning hand. That's how you define dynamicness. Like a 7, an 8, a jack, a queen, a king, an ace. All these cards higher than a 5 basically change the winning hand sometimes. But that's why this is quite dynamic. So I think if we bet, we go large. Also because if we have a pair, we need some protection. For the same reasons. I think this is a large bet or a check. And I think I like a check with this one. We can still realize our equity, right? We can turn an 8 for free. We don't want to get check raised out of our hand here. I think I like a check. 40%. I like it. We're kind of not going to bluff the turn here. I think I'm going to check back once more. Sometimes our ace high is already the winning hand. An ace, an 8, or a 7 can improve us. And another... This is the most blank run out I've seen in 17 years of playing poker. I have not seen a much blanker run out than this in my fucking life. Here, take another deuce. Good luck with that. So, I think we check down for showdown value. Like, there's still too many hands in his range that just want to give up, that we are ahead of. Can't really get called by worse either. Alright, we played that perfectly, chat. We played that perfectly. Check back. Check, check, check. What I'm interested about, though, is if we bet the flop. If we bet big. Because that was my assumption on that board. Let's see if that makes sense. So on this 10-9-6 board, the button checks. The big blind checks, sorry, and the button has the option to play. And my assumption was bet big if we bet. Not really. I failed that test. But there is 20% of the time we bet more than half pot. So it's not like it's a pure small range bet spot or something like that. So it's not that far off the logical thinking here. Very mixed here between 55, 30, and 20%. So hard to say. I like a big bet. I mean, it would have been better if it's a flush draw board too, right? But it's already pretty dynamic. And if you have a 10, you need lots of protection. So I like that logic. So my answer is that I think we have a last longer. Good luck, Wheel and Moose and everybody else. I don't know how many. I don't know how many are in. But good luck if you are in. I don't think we have played any premium pairs. Have you seen me play any premium pairs? I've been running bad in the simulation today. I've been running bad with the high pairs today. Almost 2 hours of GTOWizard, and I've not seen queen, kings, or aces, I think. Let's 3-bet. Okay, an ace-high board. Like I said earlier, in a spot where the button had the option to bet, I think the lower your pair is, the higher you wanna, the more often you wanna bet. So if you have deuces, you wanna, I don't know, I mean, I never 3-bet deuces here, right? But maybe I 3-bet eights, like eights more often wants to see bet here as a bluff than kings or queens once. So I think kings and queens like to check call a board like this. We have 2 SPR. I mean, we can't bet call. I think check is better here. Thanks, Moose. Thanks. Okay, so we check a decent amount of the time. He bets 10%. So annoying. If you, I mean, it's so hard to defend this well, but I mean, queen should be good enough. Against the 10% bet, you need 8% equity. We do check raise sometimes. I'm sure it's not folding. And then we just go to showdown here, right? Maybe we can value bet small here on the river to get called by a jack, but that's very thin, right? Especially with this run out. Maybe this is our last attempt at a 10% bet yet. We've been trying it a couple times today. Maybe this is our last attempt at a 10% block bet. And I'm afraid it's a little too thin. What do you guys think? We're almost done with the study part of the stream. Andy likes to check. Yeah, we just check, give up, right? Maybe if he bets 10%, we can call again, but... Well, maybe we can also call bigger bets. Like, we have a decent bluff catcher. Because we unblock spades. We do block good shots, but unblocking spades probably makes it quite a decent bluff catcher to check call here. Thanks for the blood. Nice tune, by the way. Off my face, don't know where I am, because I got my drugs from Amsterdam. So nobody likes the 10%, eh? Me neither, me neither. Oh! Let's check this out. So the river. Oh no! I would have gotten points. Even though it's low frequency, the 10% bet here for 15% of the time would have made sense. That's kind of cool. Kind of cool. But all in is the most chosen option here. What the fuck? That doesn't make any sense to me, man. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, that we have all-ins here in our range, sure. You know, straights for value, 2 pair for value, or sets for value maybe. And then some bluffs, but this hand is so in the middle of our range, right? The queens are like, we're beating all the nothings and we're lost to all the value hands. So I would never think about bluffing big here with queens. That's very surprising to me. All in is the most EV solution here. That being said, the small bet for value, right? Because then it's not a bluff anymore. We bet 10%. It's also 26.07 EV. So I guess it's not the end of the world if he would have chosen that. Yo, Tsarsek. Maybe because the button has a lot of Jack X as bluff catcher for your missed flush calls. Yeah. Well, that's why I like to bet 10% as like a blocking / value bet. But I wouldn't assume if we go all in here, he actually calls with a Jack as well. That seems a little too thin for me, but we can look it up because it's very interesting. Because it's the last hand of the study part of the stream anyway. It's time for me to get a beer. So this is the last hand we'll play. So we'll look it up. So what are we were wondering about the river, the button. So we have some all-ins here, 13% of our range, with the sets of fours. Straights, obviously, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Apparently queens, and that surprised me. Aces doesn't surprise me too much. And as bluffs, we have some straight blocking hands like king 7, king 6, king 7 block the straight. And I'm sure the queens only jam if you don't have spades, right? Oh, also with this, okay. It doesn't really matter for the spade, okay. But what I also want to look at, wait, we had some 10% betting here, right? It's the same spot. Oh no, we're the big blind. I'm a little confused. This is the spot. Yeah, we were the big blind. Sorry. Lots of the same logic here with the overbet, with straights, aces, and some queen high apparently. So the queen apparently is a good card here to have. And then the queens, again, not really matters which suits we have. I expected it would be worse for us to have a queen of spades in our hand. But the frequencies are roughly the same. So this is the jamming range on the flop from the big blind. Aces, queens, some straights, some random bluffs. Yeah, you wonder what the calling range is facing all in. Yes. So let's do that. Let's go all in. As the big blind. This is the button's calling range in green. And yeah, so our assumption that the jack bluff catches us is correct. Even for the 1.5 time overbet, 1.5 times the pot, we do bluff catch with lots of queen jack, king jack, queen jack, jack 10. Together with, of course, all our straights and stuff. So that's the reason. So we don't even turn our hand into a bluff. It's actually a value jam. Very interesting last hand, right? It's actually a value jam with the queens on this river on ace jack 3-5-4. I mean, this is pretty advanced, and I'm sure we won't get bluff catched that wide in game against. I mean, if I play the big 5, I'm not thinking to do this in game. I'd rather bluff here and make him fold the jack if I have tens. You know what I mean? But very interesting last hand. I want to thank you all for being part of this part of the stream. I think we did some good studying. I got some good takeaways from that. And I enjoyed it too, which is very important. We might do a couple of these streams in the near future because I'm on a bit of a poker break myself. Studying cannot hurt. I still love this game and I will forever. Doesn't matter how much I play. So very good. I think I will put this on YouTube as well. These last like 90 minutes or whatever.